Hey there, drone fans. Today is another incredibly exciting day here at the shop because I just picked up the brand new Avata 360 drone from DJI. Now, this is the very latest release from the company, and it's groundbreaking because it's an FPV drone, but it can record 360-degree footage. It has 360-degree obstacle avoidance. It's got LiDAR out the front. It's really different than any other drone you've flown, and it seems like this is the summer of 360. I've talked about the Insta360 X5, I've done a few clips on that. I have a few more coming. I've also talked about the Osmo 360, which is a wonderful camera from DJI. Both of these record 360-degree footage. It's easy to edit. And what I love so much about 360-degree recording is that I can change my perspective. I can change the framing inside of the video. So all I have to do is record, and then in post, I can actually decide what I want to look at. And that's exactly what the drone's going to do. Now, this isn't the only 360-degree drone out there. Our good friends over at Insta360 have released the anti-gravity, and I've got that drone as well, so I'll do an unboxing on that in the next couple of days. Then I'll spend a whole lot of time flying those drones, getting some great footage, and doing some comparisons between them, because I've said for a long time, I think if you check the channel maybe 4 or 5 years ago when I was talking to DJI pretty much every week, one of my suggestions was, why don't you mount a 360-degree camera on your drones? That would eliminate the need for a gimbal, because you've got the ability to sort of change your reference point and change your framing on the fly when you're flying. And it took them 4 or 5 years to get that done. But this is the latest release from them, and I can't wait to get inside the box and start flying it. Now, today's clip is going to be a quick unboxing, as quick as I can make it, where I want to show you everything that comes in the Fly More combo. Now, DJI offers this in a couple of different configurations. You can buy just the drone on its own. So if you're flying today with an RC2 controller or an RC-N2 or N3, you can actually use those controllers with the unit. Better yet, if you've got the N3 goggles and you've got the newest motion controller, you can just get the drone and you can use your controllers with that drone. If this is your first drone from DJI, you may want to consider this one, which is the RC2 package, which gives you the controller with the screen in it, or they have a package that has the N3 goggles and the motion controller if you want to fly it more like a traditional FPV. But I think it's great that they give you all those different options. So I'll do an unboxing, but I also want to talk about my initial observations of the drone, because I haven't seen it yet and I can't wait to get inside here. But from what I've read and what I've been told by DJI, you've got 2 cameras, one on the top and one on the bottom, that will create a 360-degree view of anything you're flying through. So you'll actually be able to change your perspective in the goggles or in post to look at anything you want. So imagine flying straight through a canyon and being able to look around just like you were floating in a bubble through that canyon. That's incredibly cool. But one really nice feature on this new Avata is I can flip it into single lens mode, which gives me 4K at 60 frames per second. So it's a combination drone where I can do traditional FPV flying with the single lens, or I can do 360-degree flying with the dual lens. So I'm going to spend a lot of time testing this because I'm starting to think about the possibilities, and I'm getting really excited on the kind of footage I can put together. All right, so I'll do that unboxing, I'll do my observations, then I promise you there'll be other reviews coming where I talk more about the drone, show you some of the features. I'll do a comparison between this and the anti-gravity product, because it is interesting to me that both companies, right about the same time, release drones that do 360-degree recording, and I think, you know, this is the new thing, right? I don't know how it's going to compare to a traditional drone, but we'll get it out in the field and see. Enough talking, let's get inside the box. All right, so I've got my trusty cutter right here. Let me see. You can tell that I've still got shrink wrap on it, so I haven't opened it. That never works. All right, let me use the cutter. All right, so I'm going to slice open the top, get this cellophane off here. Oh boy, this is, you guys know how much I love new technology, and especially when it's something like this that's groundbreaking, because I've reviewed a ton of drones on the channel, and after a while, they all start looking the same. I mean, they get better imaging, maybe a couple of cool features, but they're kind of the same. And I'm not going to say it's getting boring, because every time I fly a drone, I'm extremely excited, but this is a brand new style of drone, just like the anti-gravity drone, where you're recording 360-degree footage. All right, so let me open up the box. Here we go. All right, here we go. Oh, there's a nice case in there. That's pretty cool. All right, let me set this box aside. All right, there we go. And it's really nice to give you a carrying case. So let me open this guy up. There's all kinds of security tabs on it, which is great. So I know it's brand new. Oh man, oh man. So it's really nice to give you a case. I talk about that a lot. And the case is important because obviously a drone is fragile, so you want to make sure that it's not going to get damaged when you're carrying it around. But the other thing the case does for you is it keeps everything organized, because you've got the drone, you've got the controller, you've got the batteries, you've got cables, you've got extra propellers. If you just throw that into a backpack, I promise you, when you get out on site after a couple of flights, you're going to be missing something. So having a case like this where I can take it with me, go fly for the afternoon, bring it home, maybe charge the batteries, put everything back in the case, and that way when I'm heading out next Saturday, I've got everything I need out in the field. I'm not driving back home to pick up a cable that I missed. All right, so it's got a shoulder strap on it, which is really nice. Let me open her up. Where's the zipper? Right here. This is a really high quality case, I'm telling you. It's got a very nice kind of a, I don't know, kind of a water resistant outside, which seems pretty easy to clean. Pretty much the same as a lot of the DJI cases. All right, so on the top, you've got a zipper bag right there that holds a bunch of accessories. Let me pull those out because I always forget to look at those. All right, here we go. Boy, there's a lot of stuff in there. All right, let me close that up. I like that there's a little pouch up top that I can put things into, because there's all these little doodads that eventually get lost inside the bag. All right, so there's 2 desiccants in the top, and as I say every time, make sure you throw these out, because these are dangerous if kids or dogs or whatever get a hold of these. They're not good to eat, so make sure you throw those out the minute you open up the box. All right, what else we got in here? So it looks like a lot of propellers. So I've got 4 propellers, which are spares, so I've got an extra set of propellers. I've got a wrench I can use, an Allen wrench, to change the propellers if I need to. I've got a cleaning cloth for the lenses. Now, what's interesting is you've got the single lens if you're going to fly at FPV, and the dual lenses for the 360. So having a cleaning cloth is something you may not have thought about with older drones because you had a lens cover on it, but with this one, you're going to want to bring it along to clean it up. There's a charging cable, which is a USB-C to USB-C, and then there's a packet with a whole lot of manuals in it. Let me open this guy up. Oh, this is always fun. These bags are impossible to get open. All right, here we go. Heavy duty bag. All right, inside there you got a nice DJI sticker, which is pretty cool. You've got a DJI Forum QR and a DJI Store QR, so if you need to buy more stuff or accessories or extra batteries, you can scan those. Here's an EASA certification, so if you're flying outside the United States, you'll want to pay attention to that. What else have we got? Looks like a Avata safety guide and a quick start guide. Yep, quick start guide. So read through the manuals, and I know this is a fairly simple drone to fly, but it's different than anything else you've flown at that point. So you want to read through the manuals to make sure you get the best value out of the product. I always do that, and I know it's a boring exercise, but it's well worth the effort. All right, so let's get these guys out of the way because I really want to get a look at this drone. Now, a lot of this is going to seem similar. Let me start with the controller, which in this case I got the RC2. Now the RC2, slide that over a little bit. The RC2 is a pretty standard controller. DJI stuck with that, and I really appreciate that. It can handle OcuSync 4, which is the latest transmission technology between the drone and the controller. You've got the external antennas, which gives you a really solid signal. Beautiful screen right here on the front. Dual joysticks. Anybody who's flown any of the recent DJI drones will know what an RC2 looks like. The nice thing is they didn't move to a brand new remote controller or a brand new version of OcuSync, which means if you have this controller, the N2 or the N3, which is the one where you put your phone in it, or you've got the N3 goggles with the newest motion controller, you don't need to get the kit with the controller. Now, I like having a separate controller for each of the drones, so I got it, but that's the RC2. All right, what else do we got in here? Well, this looks important. Let me take a look at that in a second. Here's the drone. Let me just put that aside for a second. Oh man, I so want to tear into that. But let's see what else is in here. Look at that, a landing mat. Now, how cool is that? Now, I recommend, let me see if there's anything else I'm missing here. Nope. Oh, there's a nice little pouch in the front right here. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but there's a nice little pouch right there, which is perfect for, I don't know, a snack, maybe a ham sandwich. You can slide it down in there and you've got your lunch when you're out flying. All right, so there's the bag. Let me set that aside. And I've got a landing mat. Now this is pretty cool. And I'm a big advocate for landing mats, and I know a lot of people like to hand launch and hand catch, and that's great. But a landing mat gives you a place that's safe. And what I mean by safe is if you're out in the field and you're gonna land someplace on the ground, the prop wash down is going to kick up a lot of debris. So if you land on concrete, you're going to get sand up. If you land on dirt, you're going to get dirt up. Even if you're landing in grass, you're going to chop up the grass. It's going to get in the motors. Always have a landing pad with you, because that way at least you have a dry place to put things down on in the grass, which is nice. All right, so this is a folding one, which is different. It's beautiful. Folds up nice and small. Oh, it's got a DJI logo in it. So you fans of DJI products, look at that right there, DJI logo. All right, so cool. I got a landing pad that I can use for my next flight. I'll set that, let me set that over here. And I'm assuming this is going to be the batteries. Now, let me get in here, see what's going on with this guy. Boy, it's interesting there's no branding on that box. I find that curious. Now, I've talked about this before. DJI builds, I think, the best drones that have ever been released on the market. They build their own controller. They've got a lot of internal technology that's DJI proprietary. The two things they don't build are the batteries, which comes from a third-party company. They're built to the specifications that DJI requires, but they're not a battery company. And there's a lot of companies out there that build batteries. DJI builds the controller inside the batteries and the controller in the charging hub, but they contract it out to other companies. Maybe that's why there's no logo on the box. Anyway, there you go. There's the charging hub. Standard USB-C connection on the side, power button on the side. These guys are all asleep right now, so I'll tap it. Yep, they're not going to wake up. When you first get it, connect it up to a powerful charger. And what I mean by that is 65 watts or more. 100 watts, 140 watts is even better because that'll charge multiple batteries. A PD charger is important as well because these can fast charge, and if you're not using a PD or power delivery charger, it's going to charge slower. So if you want to get them charged safely and quickly is important because these are expensive, use a 65 watt or larger PD charger. Again, 100 or 140 is great. Don't worry about using too big a charger. I get that question a lot. This isn't going to draw any more current than it needs to charge the battery, so it's not like you're forcing 140 watts into the charger and damaging the batteries. It's going to try and drink as much as it needs from that charger, as many electrons as it can. There's an intelligent charging chip in the bottom of this that's going to distribute that charge across the batteries. There's intelligence in the batteries to control how that charge takes place, so bigger is always better in this case. But here you go, 3 batteries. Now, I don't know how they compare to the other Avata. I'll take a look at it in a second because I have the original Avata 2 downstairs, or I should say on a bench over here next to me. Put it in right, don't break it. All right, there's your charging hub. Pretty cool. It's a great way to store the batteries and a great way to charge the batteries. All right, let's get into the drone because that's what we're here for, really. That looks cool, but, you know, this is really the money right here. All right, here we go. Oh, man. So, wow. All right, so first impressions. To me, it looks larger than the original Avata 2, and I'll take that out in a second and show you. That's the brand new one right there. I don't think it's going to stand up. Nope, it's not going to stand up. And here's the Avata 2. So it is quite a bit larger than the Avata 2. And the Avata 2, you know, was small enough and really, you know, great out in the field, but it is bigger by quite a bit. I mean, look at the difference. I could hide that behind there, so you can see the difference in it. Physically, I guess bulk-wise, it's not much bigger, but the body is definitely bigger. This one weighs about a pound with a standard battery in it. This one weighs about 13 ounces with a battery in it. So both of them are fairly heavy. This one is obviously heavier, and I'm sure a lot of that has to do with the lensing on the front. This unit will fly, I should say the testing shows that it will fly for 24 minutes on a fully charged battery. I'm assuming it's going to have about the same flight time that most other drones do, which is about 80% of what they claim it is. So if it's 24 minutes, maybe you're going to get 18 or 20 minutes out of a flight. And I'll test that and I'll let you know how it goes. And it depends on how you're flying, if you're using the 360 or the single lens. It's got OcuSync 4 in it, which will give you up to 20 kilometers away, which you can't fly that far. And honestly, when you're flying a drone, everything you want to see is kind of in close. So the fact that it'll fly 12.5 miles away, I don't know. I see a lot of people testing the range on them. I don't understand that. It doesn't make sense to me why you'd want to fly a drone 10 miles away to observe something. Just get in your car and drive closer to the thing you want to observe and put the drone up. Keep it in your line of sight. That way you're playing by the rules with the FCC. So 24 minutes. It'll record 4K at 60 with a single lens. Now they say it'll record 8K with both lenses. But that's a bit of a math trick there because what you've got is a 1-inch sensor on all of the front lensing and the imaging. And I guess 2 of those together at 4K gives you 8K. Now, I had this debate with my son earlier. I don't really count that as 8K. I count that as 2 4K sensors, but the truth is it's being blended into a 360-degree view. So I guess, are they additive? To me, they seem to be, I don't know, parallel, if there's such a term. But anyway, they claim it's 8K at 60. I can't wait to get it up and see. For me, 4K is plenty. I don't know. 8K just means I've got bigger files. I've got much more work on my computer. You need like a supercomputer to edit 8K footage if you ever tried to do that, because the Hover had it, and boy, that was a lot of work to edit it. But anyway, for me, 4K is fine. All right, let's take a look at the lens. I don't want to break anything here. Oh, the other thing it's got is 360-degree crash avoidance. So it's got an awareness of its environment, and when you're flying through that heavily wooded area, it knows where all the obstacles are and it'll avoid those. It also has LiDAR on the front, which is a big improvement. The new Neo 2 had LiDAR on it as well. And a lot of people get confused about LiDAR. They think it's really going to help during the day. It's really not for during the day. It's when you're flying in a little bit darker conditions where the obstacle avoidance can't really visually see the things that are coming up on you. LiDAR doesn't care if it's light or dark because it's actually bouncing those signals off of those hard objects. So it really enhances the obstacle avoidance technology when you get into the afternoon, when you've got that setting sun around that golden hour. So, I mean, this thing, I don't want to say it's crash proof because I've said that before and people have crashed drones, but I think they're giving you everything you need to avoid those obstacles out in the field. All right, let me take this off and see what it looks like underneath. All right, so you just basically squeeze and it pops off the front, and there's the lensing. Oh man, beautiful. It's beautiful. All right, so the way this is going to work is there's your single lens flying, and it's going to pivot like that, and then you've got a lens on the top and a lens on the bottom. And you can actually change the main lens. I'm going to have to see how that's done. So if you scratch the main lens, you can change that out with a kit from DJI. So I'm going to have to play around with that. But interesting concept. And again, I mentioned it was groundbreaking. What I mean by that is we've gone through a lot of evolutions over the course of modern drones, right? If you go way back 12, 15 years ago, we were building our own drones, right? We were building FPV drones or hobby drones that we'd mount a little GoPro on the front of it, fly it out there and hope to get some footage. Then DJI came along and they built the Phantom series, which was a ready-to-fly drone. And it was kind of big and it worked great. I started with the Phantom 1 all the way through the Phantom 4 Pro. And then they were the first ones to actually develop a folding drone. And anybody that's been in the hobby for a while remembers the original Mavic Pro, which was an epiphany. The fact that they could build a folding drone that gave you the same type of resolution during flight as a Phantom product would be was unbelievable. Then a lot of companies followed them into that breach. Then they came out with the Mini, which was like their Mavic product, but shrunk down into a tiny size that was under 250 grams, so you could fly it all over the world. Again, first company to do that. Then they came out with their FPV series, which started with the original DJI FPV, which was a great drone, a little bit clunky, but it was a great drone. Then the Avata series. So DJI has been sort of breaking that barrier with all their new releases. This is the next evolution in drone flying. Now, I feel like I'm still going to be flying my Phantom 4. I'm going to still be flying my Mini 5. But I think with the 360, once I get used to it, just like with the cameras I showed you a minute ago, it could be the drone I'm going to use for most of my filming because it allows me to fly once through an area and change my perspective in post. So if I'm flying along and I really wanted to get a shot of that lake from the side, I can apply an effect that turns that imaging, my reference point, towards that lake, and I can use that. I can change the reference point for pictures as well. So it's going to give me a lot of creativity that I don't get today with a standard drone. So this may replace all the drones that I'm flying, but it all depends on, you know, what the image quality looks like. Can I pop lenses on? Do I need those SD filters in the afternoons? You probably do. And I'm sure there's companies working on those SD filters, if they're not out there already, that'll fit on the front of this unit. But for now, again, I got to hand it to DJI. Okay, it was kind of close because the guys from Insta360 came out with the anti-gravity product, but we now have two, I'll call them FPV style, 360-degree drones. We have this one, the Avata 360, the anti-gravity product, and I'm going to be flying both of them. So I don't want to spend any more time talking about this today because I really want to get outside and fly this. But for now, that's the unboxing. My observations again are that the drone is much bigger than the Avata 2. So if you're wondering about that, oh boy, that's a bigger drone. But it has a lot more features built in. Again, 360-degree crash avoidance. It's got LiDAR on the front. It'll fly for up to 24 minutes in a perfect condition, probably closer to 18 or 20 minutes on a fully charged battery. And I just think it's going to be a great drone to fly and a whole lot of fun. So, you know, if you're new to the channel, make sure you're subscribed so that you won't miss any of the drones videos that are coming up. I have a whole lot of other technology that I want to talk about on the channel as well. We're actually spinning up another company called Gadget Hero, where we're going to retail products that we use here at the shop and things that we find that we think are really cool around technology. So you'll want to be in on that. And other than that, I just have a great time flying drones, and I know you guys like this kind of stuff. So thanks an awful lot for watching today. And until next time, as always, happy flying.